Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the 15 Red podcast with myself, Kellie Barker, and Scott McCarter in Northern Ireland. Hello, Scott.
Hello to you, Kelly. We've had a very busy week and a very busy few weeks coming up, but looking forward to being with you and discussing it because we've got rather a lot to get through.
Absolutely. And first off, well done, Mark Williams, in the winner's circle once again. And he's proving that age is no barrier time after time.
And a 36th professional title, 30 years to the month since he won his first one, the old qualifying event for the Masters.
Incredible, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's not just scraping by. He's just playing. He says he isn't as good as he used to be, and maybe that's true. But he's he's as he's as good as you need to be to still be one of the best players in the world. And to be lifting this title, last night was just phenomenal. Really, he's a credit to himself and to Welsh snooker and to snooker in general. I just love watching him play.
Well, I would endorse all of that. Uh, the match against Willo, we mentioned that I think on the last one because that had been played, but it was a tremendous match, tremendous performance from Mark, of course, and of course the old adage still holding true this season. Whoever beats Kyron Wilson,
Absolutely. Do you know what? When Mark was clearing up last night, I thought to myself, "Oh, I did mention that whoever beat Kyron would go on to win the title." So, yeah, well
oh,
done to anybody who took our advice and put a few quid on him.
yeah, but
Sadly, I didn't.
no, neither did I. But that was more conviction rather than any lack of faith in Mark's ability. But no, tremendous week. I think you've got the scores from the matches from where we left off last week. I think because it was the
Yeah.
Tuesday
So,
we recorded, was
yeah. So we talked about Tuesday at the time, and we Wednesday was a very interesting group. We had Judd Trump beating Ding 4-0 in that first group game on Wednesday. Ding may have had a bit of a jet lag because he'd only just got back from Nanjing, but
yeah,
I thought Judd played really well and was good for that win. And
yeah.
then in the other group game, Neil Robertson beat Ali Carter 4-3. Robbo was 3-1 up, but only came through in a decider in the end, which set up a really good evening group final, Judd
Mm.
against Neil, which wasn't perhaps as how we thought it might go. Neil winning 6-4, but it got a little bit slow and bogged down. And yeah, I think we both agree that perhaps Neil gets a little bit negative occasionally, and we'd like to just see him flow like his natural game is.
Yes, like every time I see Judd playing Neil, I'm reminded of that extraordinary Champion of Champions final from 2019. You'll
Oh,
recall that was extraordinary final.
it was
Um,
one of the best finals. Maybe probably the best Champion of Champions final. Yeah, so Neil is a little bit like Mark Allen, that he mixes that up a bit now and slows it right down when he feels he needs to. But and you couldn't argue that he came through and got the job done that night
they did, but
to get through
again,
to the semis.
again, it's rather like Markel, and you can't really argue with the fact that he's winning. But from the fans' point of view, it's not terribly, to use affiliates phrase, it's not terribly aesthetically pleasing.
No, but I think with Mark and Neil, I don't know that they would give much of a care for what we are enjoying, if as long as
Exactly.
they're winning.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, as long as I don't think we want to see that slowness all the time. Well, I didn't think Neil was too bad with it all, to be honest. A
No, no, he
few
wasn't.
shots did take a few shots took a long time to think about and then play, but yeah, he got the job done. And into the group semi-final, which was a good result, good workout for him that day to beat Judd and Ali Carter on the same day.
Yeah,
It's no easy feat these days.
no. Really, but what is it about Jordan best of sevens, by the way? You can't look them. Sort
He's
of,
he's phenomenal, isn't he?
I
Doesn't
know
lose
it.
many at all, and like I say, I did think that Ding maybe had a bit of jet lag because he couldn't have been back in the country very long
No, no, no,
by the time
no,
they
no,
played.
no.
But I think even if he'd have been playing well, I think Judd would have won that game. He looked good. He looked very good
Yeah,
that afternoon.
yes. Of course, the important thing for Robbo is that there's no ranking points for this, so it does mean that he'll have to go to a UK qualifier. So we'll get to those in a moment. But moving on then to Thursday. The,
Yeah, Thursday was just the most incredible day, wasn't it? First
oh,
up was
tremendous.
Ronnie against Xiao Guodong. Ronnie was flying, looked really good to go 3-0 up. Xiao didn't score a point. Um, and then in the next three frames, Xiao just turned it completely around, and it was Ronnie's turn not to pass the ball.
Yeah,
So 3-3 all, and then the decider was slightly scrappier,
yeah,
but Zhao did. I think he made a reasonable break, and I don't think Ronnie would have had any complaints really because he didn't
no,
do
no, no.
too much. I didn't think he did too much wrong, but Zhao just the shackles were off, and he played some beautiful snooker. It was great to watch.
Yeah, it it brought reminded me of I think it's the last 16 in Northern Ireland in 2016. O'Sullivan was playing Kyron again. Uh, he was 3-0. Kyron was 3-0 up. Ronnie made three centuries, but then uh, Kyron won the decider. So it was rough like that. But
Yes, I remember that one. But Zhao's really come on leaps and bounds this season after being, slightly down the rankings.
yeah,
He'd never really threatened the top 16, I don't think. But
no,
now he's looking really good for really good season with Wuhan behind him and into the top 16 now for York,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
is brilliant for him.
yeah. He's very fond of a decider because I was looking back. Of course, the international championship semi-final, he only lost that 9-8. You remember?
I do remember, yes.
And
So
then 4-3 against O'Sullivan, and then um, well, we'll get to
then
the
he
the
beat
semi. Uh,
yes. In the other group match that afternoon, Mark Selby beat Sean Murphy. That was a bit of a long game. I think they had a re-rack after about half an hour, I think. But Mark
yes, I
eventually win.
did.
Mark eventually winning. I think it was 4-2.
Yep.
And then in the evening, Zhao against Mark Selby was just again a phenomenal game. 3-1 at the interval. I think I remember right. It went to 4-1. I got an early start at work the next day, so I had to leave the match there. But then I watched it the next morning, and Zhao incredibly had come back again and won again in the decider. So
Yeah.
as you say, he had a brilliant day, beating those two giants of the sport, and he earned his place the hard way in that semi-final.
Yeah. And then moving to the Friday, which was the first semi-final, it's always difficult to know what to do on the in the afternoon on the two semi-finals of the Champion of Champions because of ITV's horse racing schedule, they don't. There's no play in the afternoon, so you're always at a bit of a loss. But
Yeah, but the evening match when it came round, it was worth the wait. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed Mark Allen against Zhao. He was into the Thursday match and then he was straight back. He was on the Thursday group and he was straight back into it on Friday night. Again, 3-1 down to Mark Allen, and just played tremendous again. Really, really enjoyable snooker. Loved that game. Um, and he played so well and deserved his place in the final. I really enjoyed that, and well deserved. He'd never played in this tournament before. Um,
I mean, speaking sort of in Mark, or speaking about Mark for a moment, uh, you know, I would have thought that he would have put up a slightly better fight, but going down 6-3, it's not, he's not had the best of seasons, Mark, has he, so
he's
far?
not. He's not. He did say on social media afterwards that he was actually pleased with his game and he enjoyed that battle with Zhao. Said he's working on a few things and he does expect things to come good around the corner. So he could be one to watch in York. Hopefully, he'll have been spending the time on the practice table, and I do think he'll come good. He's a great player, and
Yeah,
like we've said, he was only world number one a few months ago. So I think
yeah,
he'll come good again, and I still expect him to lift a trophy somewhere along the line.
yeah. But I'm not taking anything from Zhou's performance there, but, obviously, local bias, I suppose, just you start to get a bit worried if he doesn't start lifting things
Yeah,
regularly, I suppose.
yes, I mean, I think because of the last couple of years he's had and he's been winning titles so regularly, I think we probably do think he's in a bit of a tough barrier at the moment. But he's quality. We know what he's got and what he's capable of, and I'm sure he's working hard and will want to put in a good performance in York next week.
Yes. Which you'll be at for part of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'm heading up to York this Friday after work, so I'll be watching the first 2 days. So I'll be able to tell you all about it next week.
Yeah. Yes, we'll come for qualifiers for UK in a moment, but then we move to Saturday evening, which was the other semi-final, of course. That was
And
Mark
that
Williams.
was Mark Williams beat Neil Robertson 6 frames
Y-
to two.
Yes,
Williams played well. He was good value for that win.
he
Um,
was. Yes, very good.
I, I didn't think Robbo suffered from any. I didn't think Robbo played badly or any slow play or anything. I just thought Mark was on form that night and
Yeah,
was good value
yeah,
for the win.
yes. The thing about that was the head-to-head record was massive in Robbo's favour, of course. But again, recent times I think have sort of shown me and sort of statos like me not to worry too much about the head-to-head because I mean it has been 7 years since Williams had beaten him, but he looked like he'd beaten him for the last 4 or 5 times the way Williams
Yes,
played. He was marvellous.
he was. And I think Mark put a few ghosts to bed this week as well because he'd never beaten Kyron before, but
Yeah,
beat him in the group final his group, and then
yeah, yeah.
to get that win against Robbo. No, no, so he didn't have it easy. But yeah, he
No,
was in his first final in Bolton against Xiao Guidong. Um,
yeah. Do you remember before we knew who Zhou Guodong was playing in the final? Do you remember I sent you a message with a bit of a stat on it that of the three players he'd beaten so far, that was they had 75 ranking tournaments between them.
Yes, so he'd he did it the tough way, didn't he, Zhao?
He did, but but you know, you always thought that Williams might have too much for him, and you know, we thought it might have been a bit of a procession yesterday, but to be fair to Jay, he did pull it back at the end of the afternoon. But at
Yes,
5-0, I thought, you know,
I think
at 5-0, I thought, no, this will be an early night, really.
yes, I think we all probably thought that. And Williams wasn't at his very best either to take that 5-0 lead, but thought
No,
Zhao started very poorly.
yeah,
Um, but the way he came back to 5-4, he would have felt like he was ahead going into that
yeah,
evening. You know, he couldn't from 5-0 down, he could only have dreamed to only be 5-4. So yeah, we did really well there. The break came at a great time for Mark Williams. He needed that.
he did.
And then by in the break, he composed himself and, you know, was never really in danger of losing at night. He got a good start, and he always looked like he always looked like he'd be the first to 10. And
Yeah,
another title and was well deserving. He played so well, and
yeah,
you've got
yeah.
to be pleased for him.
Of course you do. I mean, of the three of, you know, I know we talked about the three class of '92, but like of the three of them, Williams seems to be playing the best at the moment.
He certainly does, and I think he's been just more consistent than the other two in the last sort of certainly, you know, by the end of last season. You know, the way he won the tour championship was phenomenal. That final,
Yeah,
he was brilliant form. Um,
extraordinary.
he he reached the British Open final as well this season, so he could have had another. Was it that this season?
Uh,
It's
No,
all,
no, Saudi, remember? That
yeah,
miracle
he did reach
clearance
the
from
Saudi final. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, he was one ball away from winning one of the biggest tournaments ever staged. So
yeah.
yeah, he's just having a phenomenal time of it, and yeah, there's probably more to come from him because he's so
Yeah.
relaxed.
There could be a record that goes next season from him. He could beat Ray Reardon's record. I know we've been talking about O'Sullivan doing that, but you know, it looks like, you know, winning a ranking title, oldest winner of a ranking title. You know, it could be Williams that could overtake that record.
Oh, he absolutely could. He's like a fine wine. He's getting better and better, and he's always been one of my favourites to watch. His game is so pleasing on the eye that yeah, to still see him winning these kind of titles at his age and in the style he's doing it is brilliant. So well done him, and nice to see the family there as well.
I did I hear Stephen Hendry mention? Hey, did I hear Stephen Hendry mention that Lee Walker's now working with Ronnie as well?
I believe so. Yes. Well, if he can get Ronnie's consistency and form back like he has for Mark, then those two could still be going at it when they're 60. Never mind 50.
I know that. I know that. That's probably a bit of a stretch, but it could happen. But we'll lay the champion of champions to rest, as it were, and we'll move on to the UK qualifiers. Now, we've had 2 days uh, before today, but then today it started streaming on Facebook. So, and I shared it to our group. So, and then of course on Wednesday and Thursday you've got Judgment Day, and then I think it's Wednesday and Thursday with Judgment Day. Then the draw on the Thursday, or the draw on the Friday, and then the tournament starts on the Saturday. So
So there's a big week and lots of good snooker to look forward to.
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
going back to those weekend qualifiers, I was keeping an eye across it, and it was the return of Zhao Xingtong on
Yeah.
Saturday night. So
Yeah.
that I think he'll generate a lot of interest if he gets through to York. But Tony Akani was the unlucky man to draw him in the first round, and Zhao won 6-2 and made a 1-4-6 along the way. So he's playing really well, and
Yeah.
there's so much more to come from him. He seems to have picked up from where he left off. So he's just playing so well, and notable results in the first round as well. Jimmy White beat Paul DeVille, the amateur, 6-2. So Jimmy's still going strong. I think he plays again later today. And
22 years after he won the UK.
it's
32.
just phenomenal. I'm showing my age now because I remember Jimmy winning that tournament. So yeah, it's a very long time ago. But
JP, wasn't it?
he
JP
beat
in the
John
final.
Parrott. He
Yeah.
beat John Parrott in the final. Yes. So well done, Jimmy. Keep battling away. But
Yeah, well done.
I think the most notable of the first rounders, Bai Lu beat Farah Kajay 6-4 for her first win on the professional tour. And
Yeah.
just last night, she's followed that up with a phenomenal 6-4 win over Jamie Jones. There's not that many who do beat him when he's playing pretty well. I saw a lot of that match. He wasn't at his best, but she made 4 half centuries and into the third round now. And she, if you're going to get your first wins on tour, then she's doing it in a very good place and a great tournament. And I think it'll be very, very tough for her to get through to York, but if he can beat Jamie Jones, I think he can beat a lot of players at the qualifiers, and she'll be a handful for anyone. And we saw her in Bolton, and she held her own for a time against Mark Williams, and she took that form on. So yeah,
Yeah.
great from her.
Tremendous, tremendous. Well, I mean, she was a tremendous. It was a tremendous clearance that she made in the second frame against Willo and Bolton. So, so great to see her carrying it all. And by the way, Zhao Xingtong, I have to ask you this question. We might as well address the elephant in the room, I suppose. How do you feel about him coming back, sort of morally, if you like?
Well, for his talents, I'm very glad that he's back, and I want to see him. He didn't fix matches, which is the big thing for me. He's
Yes.
served a ban. He's served a ban that the authorities felt was appropriate. I'm happy to put it behind us. There'll always be a little asterisk against him about it, but I want to see the best of that talent. And, I think the snooker tour is better for having him around.
Certainly, I would agree. Look, he was one of the younger ones that got caught up in the nonsense. Like, obviously, the ones that were the ringleaders should never be seen again, should be, in snooker terms, wiped off the face of the earth, I think. Um, but I don't think we should be too harsh on him. He served his ban, and if he wants to compete, he should, because I mean his talent is
Absolutely.
extraordinary. His talent
Oh,
is extraordinary.
he's just incredible to watch. And that UK final he won against Luca a few years back was just tremendous snooker. One of my favourite UK finals, actually. So,
Yeah,
yeah, he was young and foolish. I'm sure he'll have learned a lesson, and I think he'll apparently during the ban he was practicing as hard as ever, ready to come back. And from what I've seen of him so far in these UK qualifiers, he looks as good as ever. So
yeah.
yes, let's hope that all that business is behind us now, which I'm sure it is, and we'll see him playing great snooker again, because his talent is an asset to the tour, and I want to see that talent nurtured for the however many years he's gonna be around.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we have to end on rather a sour note this week. But Mark King, now we have to be very careful about what we say here because Mark has the right to appeal on the 5-year ban that he's been given over a match in the Welsh Open last year against Joe Perry. He's been given a 5-year ban from all tournaments, but he has the right to appeal it until the 28th of November. So we have to be careful about what we say so we don't jeopardize that in case he does appeal. But a sad day, but uh, people can read the statement on our Facebook page. I reposted on our Facebook page the statement, detailing the offences and so on. And you can't argue with the thoroughness of the WPBSA's rulings, really. So,
No, like you say, it's another sad day for the sport that he's allegedly done what he was charged with. I don't really think he'll come back from it. Pending the appeal. Sad day. I was a fan of his. If I saw him at a tournament, he knew me by face to speak to. We always said hello.
yeah.
And I am sad that this has happened again relatively soon after the Chinese. But I believe in the appeal. I believe in the process of reaching the verdict that they have, and snooker moves on. Snooker.
Indeed.
I'm glad that these things are found out.
Yep.
But snooker will always be the bigger game than any of this that goes on, and these players will be found out eventually.
Yep.
And it's just unfortunate that they did it in the first place.
Well, yeah. As I say, if anybody wants to read the statement, it's on our 15 Red podcast page with all the details there. We need not go into sort of rule books or anything of that nature, but sorry for ending on rather a sour note, but hopefully we've whetted your appetite for the UK qualifiers. We've been through the Champion of Champions quite thoroughly as well, so we will be back at some stage next week. I know Kelly, you're in the York for a couple of days of the UK, and I'm quite busy this weekend coming to the start of the UK. So we'll work out when we'll be back, but hopefully we will be.
Oh, I'm sure we will be. Yes, I'm looking forward to getting up to York now. I missed that tournament last year, so yeah, looking forward to getting up to the great city of York. I always enjoy a couple of days up there, and
Yes,
there'll be lots of good snooker to watch.
indeed, yes. So with that, we'll leave you for this week. I should give the answer to the trivia question, and the answer who made the maximum, who was the first maximum in the Champion of Champions was Mark Selby. And our question for this year, or this week, relates to qualifying for the UK and who was the first player to make a maximum in the UK, because he made it in qualifying. So that's your homework, if you like, and we'll be back next week with the answer. So
Wonderful.
with that, I'll say thank you to Kellie Barker, and
And thank you to you, Scott, for another great chat.
thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye for now, everyone, and enjoy the UK Championship.
Bye.